Cannabis stocks have soared in the last couple of days. Why? Well, because there's a good chance that Joe Biden will become the next president of the United States. So during the VP debate last week, his running mate Kamala Harris clearly said that a Biden presidency would decriminalize cannabis across the board. So cannabis stocks like Canopy Growth, Aurora, Tilray, Aphria, etc. have all taken an absolute beating in the last couple of years ever since the Canadian Federal Legalization took place in October 2018. These companies started reporting their numbers or their quarterly results, and they haven't been that great, mostly all losses. So the stocks are trading at all-time lows, which means it's a great time to invest right now. So back in April, I released 2 videos on investing in cannabis. The second video, where I explained the best way how to invest, was one of my most viewed videos, so I know there's a lot of interest on this topic. In that video, I explained how investing in HMMJ, a Canadian ETF managed by Horizons, was the best way to go. The ETF was cheap back in April and has not really moved since then until just now. So since HMMJ is an index-based ETF like VCN or the SPY, you automatically get exposure primarily to the biggest and most valuable companies within the cannabis sector in the safest way possible. Since you're getting broad exposure within the sector itself, you don't need to pick and choose individual stocks, which can save you a lot of pain and heartache down the road in case your picks go bad. So why invest in cannabis companies since none of them give a dividend? Well, a key reason why I invest in this ETF is that it provides a quarterly dividend. Since I'm an income investor, I only invest in stocks that generate passive income. So like I explained in the video back in April, the ETF manages to provide a dividend because of securities lending. So this is a common practice among ETF managers, where they can lend out some shares to other investors or institutions who in return pay the ETF manager a commission and return the shares after the agreed upon time frame, which is usually a pretty short time frame. So those commissions are then distributed to us, the investors, as dividends. So you could always read more on this yourself, but here's a quick quote from the Globe and Mail article published in June 2018. So, quote, "Due to a number of factors that include volatility and the amount of free market float and available lenders, many of the stocks in HMMJ can be lent out at higher than average lending rates compared to what is available for traditional large cap equities or large cap stocks." So this is a quote from Mark Noble, Senior Vice President with Horizons ETFs. So let's check out the stock price history real quick so you could see what I mean in terms of growth potential here, and then we will see what kind of stocks are in the fund as well as the dividend history. So here is the 5-year chart, guys, of HMMJ. As you can see, the stock or the ETF was created in April of 2017. It came out with a stock price of $10, a little over $10. So it's even under that. And as you could see, with the speculation of the Canadian Federal Legalization, it went up to $23, $24. But starting in early 2019 is when all the pod companies started releasing their numbers, and as you can see, there's a gradual decrease all the way down to about $6 to what it is now. So if we change the chart and if we look at the last 6 months, you could clearly see that there's a little pop here. So that's the last couple of days because of what Kamala Harris said. So overall, since this stock was a $22, $23 stock at one point, I strongly feel that there's enormous growth potential. Of course, this is just my opinion, but looking at this chart, you could pretty much see that it's a pretty good time to pick up the stock right now. Alright guys, so I am on the homepage of the HMMJ ETF here, and as you could see, by the way, the management expense ratio is 0.85%, so under 1% is really good if you ask me. If you go here and click on holdings to see what kind of companies are in the fund, you have them listed here. So this is where what I was talking about earlier, where you're getting good diversification. So you have companies like the Innovative Industrial Properties REIT, as well as Scott's Miracle Growth. So these are not cannabis producers, but they're included in this ETF because they're indirectly tied to the cannabis sector. So you're getting really good broad diversification. You're not piling your money all in cannabis producers, but of course you have the big ones here like Canopy Growth, Aphria, Kronos, Tilray, Village Farms, Aurora. These are just the big ones. I mean, there's a lot more with a smaller percentage here. So really nice diversification. If we click on distributions, if we look at the dividends now, you could see that the 12-month trailing yield is 14.46%. This just means the average dividend yield for the last year. So absolutely enormous. The estimated annual yield is half of that at 7.34. So this basically takes into account only the latest distribution. That's why it's lower, because if we look at the latest distribution, it's actually a lot lower than it used to be. So the last one that came out was a little over 10 cents. And the last ones were, as you can see here, 18 cents, 26 cents. But keep in mind that the distributions are not fixed. Most of the incomes come from securities lending. So the distributions will change every quarter. But hey, at least we're getting something. We're getting paid while we wait. Nothing is better than that. As you could see here with the history, if you go back to 2019, there's 4 quarterly distributions. 2018, 4 quarterly distributions. So this ETF has been really consistent in at least paying out a dividend every quarter, which is just fantastic for us income investors. So let's quickly summarize why I think HMMJ is a great investment opportunity. Number one, you have income. If you're a passive income investor like myself, it's the most important criteria when it comes to investing. I don't invest in anything that doesn't generate any income. Number two, broad diversification within the sector itself, which gives you more safety and removes the need to pick and choose individual stocks yourself. I say broad diversification because there are also really good companies that are indirectly tied to cannabis, like we just saw with that industrial REIT and Scott's Miracle Grow. And number three, enormous growth potential. So this is also a good option for you growth investors who want to buy low and sell high later on to make a nice profit or capital gain. Not my style, but hey, to each their own. So I hope you guys decide to invest in HMMJ. Personally, I think it's a great idea for not only income and value investors, but also you growth investors out there. I personally have about $14,000 invested in the HMMJ as I've been adding money throughout the years, and currently my average share price is $9.31 and my dividend yield is a little over 8%. So it's much cheaper now and the yield is much higher as well, like we just saw. So it's really a no-brainer if you ask me. We hit 1,000 subscribers recently as well, guys, and the amount of questions and the comments have been increasing as well. So I want to thank everyone watching and participating as well in the channel. It gives me hope and gets me happy that people are finally waking up and realizing that managing their own money or their own investments is not only easy and fun, but well worth it. So I got a lot more content coming up, guys, geared towards helping everyday investors build a nice stream of passive income. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you're alerted whenever a new video comes out. This is important because sometimes I make quick videos like this one on limited time investment opportunities, so you don't want to miss out on any of them. The stock market does not wait for anybody. So also make sure to follow us on Instagram, guys, for extra stock picks and investing related content. So I will be off for the next 2 weeks. We're taking a trip down south to the Caribbean, which of course was paid off with our passive income. So as soon as I get back, I will be working on the stock picks for November, and who knows what the US election will bring. Probably a lot more volatility in the stock market, but honestly, who cares? We're passive income investors. We simply enjoy the show while collecting the dividends every month. So with that, take care, guys, and see you in a couple of weeks.